Boo! Okay, happy Halloween. It's David here. Welcome back to the channel for another video. Hope you're all doing well. You might have guessed that this is the Halloween special effects extravaganza. You can tell from all the Hollywood movie stars. Well, Halloween is becoming a bigger thing in Japan than so every year. Same as in England, really. It's mostly a kind of commercial event where people buy lots of sweets, buy lots of costumes, and yeah, kind of have a bit of fun. So yeah, American traditions are spreading across the world like a zombie plague. But I hope this is interesting anyway. Japan has a kind of rich history of supernatural beings, ghosts and ghouls and all sorts of things. So I wanted to give you a little dip into that creepy world and show you 5 of the most famous yokai, which is yeah, kind of Japanese word for supernatural being of some description. Okay, well I don't have a lot of budget, so I'm gonna go straight on to the first yokai in our list. Okay, our first yokai on the list is the Rokurokubi, which translates to a pulley neck. It's a bit of a strange name, but it might make sense when you can see how long its neck can get. Usually it disguises itself as a human, but it can take other forms. It can stretch its neck to terrifying lengths and terrorize people. It's not usually that dangerous, it just likes to scare people. But they do have a kind of cousin called the Nuke-kubi, I think that's what it's called. This one can actually detach its head completely, and the head can float around, possibly even bite people to death. So please be careful if you find Nuke-kubi. Is there one behind me? I hope not. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Okay, number 2 on our list is the Kappa. This is a small, childlike, green little monster. In fact, the name comes from the words river child. It's yeah, not too scary, but it's small. It's got a shell like a tortoise. It's scaly, has webbed hands and feet, and it has a strange little dish on its head which it uses to collect water. But if you break this dish or it damages itself, it spills the water, it will be weakened and might even die, poor little thing. But don't worry, they live near the water most of the time, and they are a bit partial to a cucumber. So if you ever see one, then please give them one if you have a cucumber handy. This also inspired the sushi roll called Kappa maki, which has a cucumber in the middle of it. So maybe that will make them happy. Apparently they like sumo wrestling too. I don't know where that comes from, but yeah, it's interesting. They're not that scary, but they can lure you into the water. Maybe they're going to drown your dog or even your kids, so please watch out. But although they're a bit scary, dotted around Japan you can find Kappa shrines. I was lucky enough to find one in Hokkaido. I even found King Kappa. You can see from the picture. It wasn't so scary, and I safely got away. So be careful for Kappa, but they're a little bit cute, aren't they? Okay, next one. Okay, yokai number 3 is the Oni, which roughly translates to an ogre in Western world. These are giant, muscly, scary, hairy ogres, often carrying clubs. So please be careful, these are real dangerous ones. Often they are red or blue, but they do come in other colour variations. For example, I think yellow and green as well are available, so you can collect the set. You often find big statues of these around Japan. I found a few big ones in Akita Prefecture where they're kind of famous, but I didn't get attacked, I survived. You're most likely to see Oni during the start of spring, where there's a festival called Setsubun, which marks the start of spring, usually on the 3rd, around the 3rd of February, where there's a tradition to throw dried soybeans at the Oni to get rid of them, get them out of your house and get rid of the bad luck. So please be careful with the Oni and keep those dry soybeans handy. Okay, let's go. Number 4. Okay, yokai number 4 is the Tengu, which is a yokai with a long and interesting history. Probably the longest history of any of the yokai today. They were often depicted as kind of bird demons before, small wings, big beaks, and would kind of attack people. But these days they are often depicted as almost like a monk creature with a big red face and a big long red nose, very long red nose. You might even find an emoji for these ones on your phone. They are sometimes thought as kind of protective spirits, so they defend the mountains as well, so they're worshipped in mountain towns sometimes, including in Kurama City in Kyoto Prefecture, where you can see a lot of Tengu souvenirs and also a big Tengu mask or big Tengu statue, I'm not sure, with a huge long red nose. So yeah, it's interesting to see. And yeah, often they were depicted as quite dangerous and scary, but yeah, they do have a protective influence too. So yeah, please be careful. Don't make them angry. Okay, so one more. Let's look at number 5. Okay, our 5th and final yokai is the Amabie, which is not a scary yokai like the other ones, but actually kind of a sweet one. It was first sighted in Kumamoto Prefecture in Kyushu about 200 years ago, and it's a strange hybrid of a mermaid and a bird. So it has long beautiful hair, scaly body and 3 legs for some reason, and also a big beak, so a bit of an unusual creature. But not only did it promise the person who saw it 6 years of good harvests, it also said that if that person showed her image to other people, then it would protect them from illness too. So a very helpful yokai. It kind of fell out of public awareness for a few hundred years until the coronavirus came around, and then yokai fans managed to revive the Amabie and shared the pictures of Amabie all over Twitter to protect everyone in Japan. So nice story. It became so popular that it's actually featuring on Amazon Prime's latest series of Masked Singer, for the first Japanese series. So yeah, they might be a good singer too. So please check that out if you're interested in Mabier. Okay, I think that's the end of our list. Okay, let me just change into something a bit more comfortable. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that list. I hope that gives you a little taster of the world of yokai. Of course, there are a few famous anime with a lot of yokai in them. Probably most famous would be Yokai Watch, a kind of a Pokemon-ish anime about catching various good and evil spirits. What else is there? There's the, oh, I forgot the name of it now, but there's an anime where there's a lot of yokai in it, Gegege something. Please search Gegege anime, you're gonna find it. And one thing I do recommend to watch on Netflix at the moment is anime called Hozuki's Cool-Headedness. A bit of a strange title, but it involves a lot of really traditional yokai and Japanese hell as well. So yeah, it was really funny, so please give that a try. I think there's subtitles and maybe even dubbing, I'm not sure, if you're not sure about watching Japanese things. But yeah, I hope that was interesting. Hope you have a happy Halloween. Nothing much is really happening here at the moment because of coronavirus, but maybe people will be wearing costumes down in Dotonbori in Namba. It's kind of a traditional thing. A lot of young people like to do that. I don't know about young little kids, but kind of college-age kids like to wear a lot of costumes bought from Don Quixote and go a bit crazy on the Dotonbori Bridge. So yeah, please be careful if you ever visit there, because it does get really crowded and kind of a bit scary. Not because of the costumes, but because of the kind of just too many people. But please check out online and see if you can find some interesting Halloween costumes from Japan. Okay, so before I finish, as usual, please like and subscribe. I hope this was really fun for you, and please share it to your Halloween loving friends too. If this was a success, then I want to do more weird special effects things. Yeah, so like, subscribe, hit the bell if you can, and yeah, please take care. Keep your crucifix near you, garlic, soybeans, cucumbers, whatever you need to keep safe this Halloween. And I'll see you next year, or next video anyway. See you, bye.